Well, good day to you all. John Nesbitt here. As you can see down the little thing down at the bottom of the screen there, I'm your marketer at large. And as the video promises, I'm going to talk to you about how to get more referrals and why you may not be getting all the ones that you're getting. Here's a hint: you get the referrals you deserve, but there's more to it than that. All right. So first of all, so obviously, I probably don't need to delve into this too much, but most business people have learned very quickly that referrals are awesome, right? They show up more, they pay more, they're more successful, they're more likely to refer themselves. Once they are successful, and they're just great. The frustration you can have is it's really hard to thrive and really grow on referrals alone. There are some businesses that do that, they specialize in it, and you can even, if you're clever, organize it so that your primary marketing process is generating referrals. But most business owners find it difficult to scale. If you have a practice that you wish, I mean, look at the math is also kind of against you. If you had, say, 100 happy patients as a chiropractor, or 100 happy customers as a business owner, and if all 100 people referred one person in, you'd still have 100 customers, right? They all have to refer more than one on average if you wanted to grow with referrals. So the math is a little against you. So first of all, don't overestimate what most people will get for referrals. A lot of people like to brag about how many referrals they get, but the guys who are really doing very well usually have referrals and then paid marketing on top of that and some other things. So just to kind of wipe that little bit of perhaps false idea you may have off there. Referrals are great, and people brag about them. People never brag when they don't get a lot of referrals, right? So anyhow, that's just the first part. All right. So the another very key thing you need to understand, like as a foundational idea here, is um, referrals, especially when they're unprompted referrals. Like you didn't go out and ask the person for a referral; they actually sent somebody in. Referrals are themselves, to me, the best and most honest indicator of the quality of your service. If people are not willing to brag about how they were smart enough to buy from you and do business with you, then if they're not smart, if they're not proud enough to brag to others about, oh, I got this great deal at this place, or oh, they treat me so nice, or they did so good for me, right? Then you're not really exceeding their expectations. You're not really maxing out. You're not giving them that what they call that the wow factor I've mentioned every now and then, like where they go, wow, that's amazing, right? When people are kind of wowed, when they find it amazing, they'll tell their friends and family about it just as a matter of ego and as a matter of like breaking news. Hey, I found a really great pizza joint down there. It's awesome, right? Well, if they had okay pizza at the pizza joint, they don't go tell everybody. They just sort of like they're this there, right? So I want you to have your first actual hard look as a CEO, as a business owner, at how good is your service. If people are not naturally every now and then sort of bubbling up referrals to you, then that's the first place you should look to make sure, because you could try to run a referral program, but if it's on the top of a mediocre service, an okay, me too kind of service, it's the same as everybody else's kind of thing or whatever, you're not going to get that. Now, just because we can go into a whole big thing about how you wow people and how you do that. And I plan to. I promised you. I mentioned it in the other video. I'll do it at some point soon. But just because you deliver the same service doesn't mean you can't deliver it with some pizzazz, with some extra improvements, some things that really exceed people's expectations. Maybe do it faster or smoother or better or more politely or whatever, right? Whatever. Doesn't matter. The idea is that you have to have a service which is up to being referral worthy. And that's the first thing you really have to take a look at. And that's not really the main message I have here for today, but I'll tell you this: anything else I tell you after this will not go anywhere if you've got a kind of a schlocky deliverable, right? If you let that be your sideline and you worry about sales all the time and not worrying about delivery, that's about the most short-sighted thing you can do, is worry about sales more than you worry about delivery. You should worry about delivery 4 or 5 times more than you worry about sales. Because if delivery is good, sales is a lot easier, and referrals is just part of sales. Okay, so that's that. All right, now, so the first real step in getting referrals, what I kind of mentioned here, is do a good job. Right, be referral worthy. The second one, now you're going to roll your eyes or something, but I got to tell you this because this is where everybody, even if people have great services, still starve in the ditch because they don't do the next step, which is ask. Ask for the referral. You got to actually screw that courage and say, hey, Mr. Customer, I see you're very happy. You're just telling everybody how thrilled you are with your result or with the product you got or with the service, or you're smiling when you come in here the third time. Is there anybody you could share us with? Anybody you could to tell about our service? We really appreciate it. We have a referral program, or we have a loyalty program, or I'll just give you a hello and a high five, whatever. But you have to have the courage to make it part of your entire service process, that you ask people at the right moment and at the right time when it's appropriate. You don't badger them too much. You don't have bad manners about it. But you do have to make it a point and build it into your processes to ask. You're going to find, especially when you've got staff, that it has to be part of the job description, part of their actual process to, on occasion, ask for the referral. Salespeople know this hardcore. Salespeople who have like really been sales trained, they always ask for their, they have a close. And right then after the close, the person who just closed is the most likely to refer right at that moment. So your super pro salespeople say, hey, I'm so glad you got started with us today. We're going to take care of you. It's going to be grand wonderful. And by the way, who else do you know has the same problem that you have that might we appreciate hearing about our program or seeing our services or experiencing our pizza or whatever it happens to be, right? Who do you know likes pizza? Who else likes pizza that you know? Oh, well, let's talk to them, right? Let's give them a coupon, right? Whatever it is. So you just find ways to ask in clever ways, ask in stupid ways. Just ask. Be sure to ask because the more you ask, the more referrals you get. It's a direct linear ratio. You ask twice as much, you're going to get twice as many referrals. Yeah, I know. Silly, but I bring it up and I make a big point of it because so many folks don't bother to ask. So you're going to, okay, raise your right hand, promise. You will now ask for referrals whenever you have a happy customer in front of you. Good. All right. So sworn. I'll be checking on all of you. I use the internet, you know. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to make a point of is there are that kind of person who you're going to ask to give you a referral and they never will. You can have happy client. I'll give you an example. I've had happy clients who've been clients with our company, our marketing company, literally for a decade, right? Happy. They've made millions of dollars with us, right? Not even gotten a good review from them. Now they've been paying us all money for 10 years and never bothered to leave a review, and they never will. Some people just don't do that. So don't be disappointed if you've got a really happy client and you ask them and they say they will and they don't, and you ask them they say they will and they won't, or whatever, or they have to feel like you're kind of pushing or badgering for it. Some people just aren't gonna do it. That's all right. That's what happens. That's people. That's everything. We've all been that customer too, right? You don't tell me you've left a good review for everybody who's ever done a good job for you, right? People are so much more likely to complain about bad service or bad thing than they are to give praise on the good things. I think it's something like a 10 or 20 to 1 ratio. So it's part of human nature. Don't get bent out of shape. And not everybody's going to refer. Every time you ask, you're not going to get a referral. Not even half the time, not even a tenth of the time sometimes, right? Depends on what's going on. All right. But you can, on the flip side, there are these wonderful unicorn people who they're just social butterflies. They love to tell people about new stuff. They love to say, hey, I found this new thing and it's awesome. There's a personality type out there. I don't know, is it 1 in 20 people? I don't know, 1 in 10 people, something like that, right? That will just they will go to bat for you. They will become a great evangelist for you, pardon the word, right? They will sell your services to their friends because they think it's neat and they want to help you and they want to help them. And this is just what they do. They're natural connector type people. Okay. So when you find you've got one of those people, all right, identify, like you think, okay, think right now about the people you deal with, right? You might think of at least maybe a name or two or three comes to mind of, oh yeah, that person tells me about all the stuff they buy. How great they're trying to refer things to me all the time. Guess what? They'll probably be referring you to others right there if you ask them, right? So make them kind of your own special little group. You say, okay, yeah, these 4 or 5 people, because you know, if the old 80-20 rule applies, right? 80% of your referrals are going to come from 20% of the people who are referring you, right? Some people are just super attractive, right? So when you do get a referral, and this is the last point I want to make, when you do get a referral from somebody, whether it's one of these connector type people or the guy who sends you one person ever, right? You need to acknowledge that referral as quickly as possible. I have a friend of mine. His name is Artie Marin. He's a long time business consultant, famous all over the world, gives huge talks, makes more money to say 5 words than I make all year. He's really amazing. And he actually, in his book, had something he calls the laws of referrals. I'm going to read it off my screen here. The law of referrals. It means exactly getting referrals. And it's covering all business types everywhere. So that means you. Quote, anyone who refers you business will do so again if they feel it's important to you and they are adequately thanked, right? So remember, anyone who refers you business will do so again if they feel it is important to you and they are adequately thanked. So let's break that down. Important to you, huh? Well, if you come back to the person and say, hey, that was great. I really appreciate that. That's awesome, right? And let them know that it's something that meant something to you. Oh, well, they like making someone happy. Look, you just did a good service for them. They referred you to somebody else, and then you showed happiness for that. Well, they're the kind of person who probably wants to make you happy again, right? So that encourages that next referral, and it's a good way to do business anyway, right? The next point he says, and are adequately thanked. Now, some people think, oh, I got to pay a 10% commission. Oh, I got to give them a bag of money or something like that. No. An adequate thank it can be anything from, hey, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm a small business person and I live on referrals, and the fact you referred really helps me feed my family and make the business go and invest more and help more people like you. So thank you so much. Right? You could just say something like that. That's a thank you and a half right there. That's worth more than money to most people. Like you just hand the guy $5. That's one thing. You give them a heartfelt, maybe a handwritten thank you if they're not sitting there in front of you, or you type a personalized email, or take a person. Actually, what's really you do these days is do a quick little video on your phone and just text or email that video to them as a personal thank you. That goes a long way, and that counts as adequately thanked. Now, you can have loyalty programs and punch the card 9 times, your 10 sandwich is free or whatever. You can have that stuff you like to, but make sure it follows with the idea that the person is adequately thanked. And another little corollary to this, because I read his whole book, another point that he makes in there is do it right away. Don't let a referral get old. If someone referred someone to you this morning, your thank you should happen this afternoon at the latest. It should be immediately because you want to make sure that's how you show it's important to you. If you put it off and put it off, that really doesn't say it was very important. Oh yeah, 2 months ago you sent me that guy. Yeah, thanks, I appreciate that. That's not really showing importance. When you say, "Oh, I just heard from your friend. You referred him this morning. He called up. I really appreciate it. That's really great." He goes, "Wow, it's important to them." Okay, good. So they feel important for having helped you. All right. Referrals is don't try to make this too much of a machine. Don't try to make this a routine and a big process. I mean, there are process parts to it, like remember to ask people on a regular basis as part of your procedures, but don't overdo it. Referrals is all about that human affinity relationship and letting them know that, oh, what you did for me, I appreciate that. That was important to me. I appreciate that. You really did help me out. People like helping each other. And referrals is just a way that a person helps a business and really not helping a business. They're helping you. And so show your appreciation for that and make sure they feel adequately thanked, and you will have lots to do with it. And then just keep asking. And if you're doing a good job, I guarantee you get referrals. So there you go. I hope you found this useful. Hope you found it interesting. I'm going to keep doing these videos for you. Send me your questions. I've gotten some great questions. I'm going to answer some of them and a couple other topics I kind of allude to here and there. I shall get into it. I appreciate it. Have a great day. Okay. Take care.